welcome to the Ministry of Guitar YouTube channel. I'm Utkarsh Mohan. Subscribe to us for structured reviews, an unbiased point of view, and an international perspective. Today we check out two legends of guitar, the Les Paul Custom and PRS Custom 24. This is not the most obvious comparison when it comes to guitars, but I think it is something that does cross many people's minds. If you're looking for a higher end guitar, are you better off going with the tried and trusted, world famous, legendary Les Paul Custom? Or should you go for the relative upstart on the market, like when I say upstart, only 35 years old, Custom 24? The kind of guitar that I have, both of them, they both have a bit of a metal gothic edge to them. The Les Paul has got this very nice black and red satanic vibe, and my Custom 24 private stock has this beautiful faded indigo burst, which also wouldn't look out of place in the black metal band. So somehow these two were the most badass looking guitars that I had, so I just had to compare them. Starting off with the Les Paul Custom, I think all of you know this, but for those of you who don't, the Les Paul Custom is the flagship, so to speak, of the Gibson Les Paul range. Custom both refers to the fact that it's made in the custom shop, and then the model itself has become the Les Paul Custom, even though the custom shop makes other models like the historic standards and so on. What differentiates this from a regular Les Paul is the ebony board. In my guitar's case, it's a Richlite board, which was used for a few years. Also, some customs don't have a maple cap like standards do, but really the ebony board versus a rosewood board is the key difference, apart from the fact that it's made in the in the custom shop factory. And then there are certain points such as binding, which are both on the front and the back, which are present on the custom. Now the Custom 24, let's just call it the PRS for future reference sake in this video, is the model that PRS started off with. It aimed to blend the best of both worlds, which is the Strat and the Les Paul. Even the shape was kind of built off that. It had 24 frets. Over the last 24 years it has evolved. The general formula is 24 frets, mahogany body, maple top, very similar to a Les Paul in a way in that sense. At the same time, double cut like a Stratocaster, with a tremolo like a Stratocaster, based on the Stratocaster trem originally, but it's evolved into the PRS Gen 2 or Gen 3 trem, and overall a more modern, more versatile take. So let's compare specs across these guitars. Let's start off with this beautiful Les Paul. So this is a Satin custom. So this is what's called a red widow or the black widow. I'm not really sure, but I'm guessing since it has the red inlays, it probably is the red widow, not the black widow. So construction in this guitar is mahogany body. I think it is a maple top. I can't be sure because I can't see the grain of the wood. Richlite fretboard and 3-piece maple neck, which is absolutely beautiful. Most Les Pauls typically have mahogany neck. Moving on to the neck, since you're talking about it, it's got a 50s Gibson profile. I don't know whether it's a 50s or it's a 59. It's not as rounded as a 58. It's definitely not a slim taper, so it's the perfect neck actually, if you ask me. Richlite fretboard with block inlays, which is typical of a custom. Customs come with ebony fretboards or Richlite the last few years, and then the crown inlay, which is the which is the stab hat, a hallmark of a Les Paul Custom. In this particular guitar, I cannot think of a better looking combination than the red crown inlay on the black background. And of course, the satin nitro finish on the body. Electronics wise, this deceptively has low output PRS. This only has 57 classics in this very amazing looking black chrome finish. I wish all humbuckers came in black chrome actually. And black hardware all over, the standard Tunematic. And of course, switching wise, you've got the 4 switches, which is the neck volume, neck tone, bridge volume, bridge tone, and the 3-way switch for switching between the humbuckers. Talking about the PRS, so as I said, there is no one PRS Custom 24, and this is a particularly, not unique, but a particularly nice example. This is a private stock Custom 24. So the quick 2-minute recap, what is private stock? So PRS has multiple grades. There are the overseas, outside of the US made guitars, and in the US made guitars you have stock or core, which is the standard PRSs. Then you have S2, which is a cheaper version but still made in the US but with import electronics. Off the core, you have special versions of the core like artist package with special upgrades in terms of woods, or wood library, which sometimes get other upgrades but spec'd by the dealer. And finally, you have something called private stock, which is their custom shop, but pretty outrageous wood choices, pretty outrageous customization choices, and basically the creme de la creme of not only PRS but I might just say the guitar industry as a whole. That's my opinion at any rate. So this is made from 2008. It's a private stock number 2066. Each of these private stock guitars are numbered. This is from what's called the Joe Knaggs era, because Joe Knaggs, now the founder and chief luthier of Knaggs Guitars, used to be at private stock in PRS. He actually founded the division, and this was made under his care in 2008. Specs wise, this has got a mahogany body just like the Les Paul, outrageous flame maple top, and the neck is also flame maple with this beautiful, extremely beautiful curly flame maple. Fretboard is ebony, not rich light in this case. And the neck profile is what's called a regular. So regular is similar to what patterned regular is today. It's an old neck design. It's the design from the 80s, and it's it's not a thin neck at all. It's not a fat neck. This is what I would call the Goldilocks neck. I think any guitarist can play this neck and be okay with it. So you have no complaints there. Talking more about the neck and the fretboard, we've got these beautiful silver inlaid birds. Of course, the hallmark of PRS is the birds, and the private stock eagle also in that silver outline. Absolutely beautiful with the ebony headstock veneer. Tuner buttons are also ebony, so it matches really well. Talking about the electronics, you've got the vintage bass pickup and the HFS vintage bass in the bass position, and the HFS hot pattern screamer pickup in the bridge position. These are older PRS designs. If you buy a Custom 24 today, you'll most likely get something like 8515s, which are basically kind of based on the 85, but came out in 2015. There are other modern pickups of PRS like 5708, 5909, which we can talk about in another video. Bridge wise, this has got a PRS Gen 2 trem. If you buy one today, you'll get a Gen 3 trem. And the switching system on this is fairly simple, which is master volume, master tone, with a 3-way switch and coil splitting. The Les Paul does not have coil splitting. This does have it, so you can get those single coil tones. Okay, so sound-wise, well, what to say? The Les Paul sounds like a Les Paul, right? Which means the neck pickup is very nice and warm. The bridge pickup has a lot of throat in it. What surprised me is a little bit was the clarity of these pickups, because for me, Gibson pickups are not known for their clarity, but this one was actually pretty decent. And as you might have seen in the part of the video where I was playing Lamp of God, I played even some metal on this, they did the job really well. And surprisingly, it was easier to squeal on the low output 57 plus, or 57, not 57 plus, humbucker in this one versus the higher output HFS. So confusing there. So the Les Paul Custom for me sounds like a Les Paul, as good as a Les Paul gets really. I have multiple Les Pauls. This sounds like any one of them, maybe slightly better. But yeah, you can't go wrong. A Les Paul just sounds great. The Custom 24, or this Custom 24, is an interesting mixed bag. On one hand, the neck pickup sounds closest to a Les Paul that I've ever heard on a 24 fret guitar. So there is something about the vintage bass pickup that can really warm up the sound of the neck pickup. At the same time, the bridge pickup has got a very, very fat sound. Well, I guess it's called a hot, fat and screaming. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of this humbucker, because for my style of playing, which is very palm muting heavy and some level of staccato riffing, the HFS pickup is not suited to that. What the HFS pickup is designed for is lead work. So if you are into 80s metal, Iron Maiden, Dio, or anything that has a lot of beautiful lead lines, lead harmonies and stuff like that, which I also like, but not my core place to go. This guitar is the guitar for you, or rather the HFS pickup is the perfect pickup for that. It's got the sweetest bridge pickup sound and that wonderful liquid tone, which is great for playing leads, searing leads, but not so great for the rhythm work. So that's the HFS pickup in this one. So sound-wise, if you ask me, the PRS is definitely more versatile, because you've got coil splits and you can get, you can get some decent single coil tones. The Les Paul is less versatile. For what it is, just because of the pickups, I prefer this, the Les Paul Custom in this case. I have other PRSs that I love the pickups on, particularly the 5815s, 5708s, but due to the pickup combination on this PRS, I don't particularly like that. So when I compare these two guitars acoustically, I notice one clear difference. The Les Paul is of course great and it feels good, but the PRS has an uncanny resonance, which means that you can feel everything. So even on the neck, even if you strum lightly, you can feel the whole thing vibrating. I find this very unique to PRS in general, and typically their private stock guitars have taken that quality of PRSs to a completely different level in terms of feeling every vibration through the neck. The only other manufacturer that comes close to doing that is Nax, no surprise, but of course the Les Paul doesn't do that. Overall thoughts, each of these guitars is a dream guitar, let's be clear about that. Right? So you could have one of these guitars and you would be utterly happy, and you would be happy, it would look great on stage, it would look good, you would feel good when you're playing it, so there is no loser here. I think it boils down to preference, and it's a cliche thing to say that if you're a single cut guy, go for the Les Paul, otherwise go for the PRS, but beyond that, assuming that you have not developed a preference, which one would I recommend? I would still recommend the Custom 24. Ultimately, because it can do wherever your taste takes you. If your taste takes you down a funky route, the Custom 24 will do the job, whereas maybe the Les Paul is not the best tool for that. If you want classic Les Paul tones, this Custom 24's neck pickup does that. The only thing is, if you are a metalhead like me, I would just swap out the bridge pickup for something else. And that's about it. So I love the Les Paul Custom. I think if you're anything to on the traditional side, on a Les Paul kind of guy, this is probably much better. But I will have to say that the overall, despite the fact that I don't like the bridge pickup personally, the PRS Custom 24 is the winner of this comparison according to me. Alright, I hope this is fun, and let me know what else you'd like to hear on this channel. Till next time.